Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. So hi ladies, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. Today is going to be very, very juicy. So this is an extra special episode that I've been wanting to record and obviously waiting for the right moment. And it's essentially my 2023 wrap up. So this is where I'm going to take you really behind the scenes of everything that it has taken to run my business this year, and then what the lessons are that I've learned both from my own businesses and also from my clients. And then I'm going to be, what I'm going to be working on next year. So much has happened this year. It feels like mind-blowing, genuinely, because I think last year for me, I was pregnant, I was poorly, I was going through a lot personally, and it was just more about consolidating, healing, a little bit of retreating. And I think this year, at the beginning of this year, I really decided that I was going to make some bold moves, and this year has not disappointed. I have pushed myself so far out of my comfort zone, and we're just getting started, because what it has done is really ignited a passion in me and a spark to get even more visible, to really amplify my mission, and to be more next year, essentially more that I've already built on this year. I'm going to use that energy and how I can then quantum leap it into something really exceptional next year. So I feel like with a business, when people say they have this overnight success, I almost feel like that's a little bit sad, because you need to go through that process of evolution with your business. And I've been in business for over 8 years now, obviously as a coach for the last 5 years, but prior to that, obviously as a physical business owner, multiple businesses. And what I have learned is that the journey is so important. Like, you have to, in whatever, whether it's a retail business or I've had online businesses, in-person businesses, I've had like physical shops, I've had all the things, and different variations of that. But there's so much learning in the journey, and you can start out with the best intentions and the best idea of a business, but actually when you get into doing it, that's when you really learn about what it is that you want to do and what you want to create. It's like learning to drive. Like, you don't really learn to drive until you start doing the thing. So for me, even with my coaching business, that was always like something that complemented what I was already doing, and it's only really been the last few years where it's almost superseded now all of my other business interests. So, and obviously next year, like, go big or go home. Like, I'm ready to do big things. And but equally, it's like the ebbs and flows of business as well, in that some elements of my business will need to scale back in order for me to focus on like other opportunities of growth for me. So it's just that's part of the journey. It's the same with life. It's all about the ebbs and flows and the seasons and the evolutions of your business. Oh, I've got a thing there. Evolutions of your business. And when you have that overnight success, it can be at your detriment, because it doesn't give you the time and space to learn as you go, and to really feel into your business and let it evolve and uncover as it's meant to. And I truly believe if I grow my business any other way, and I've really put pressure on myself from the beginning for it to be straight out the gate a six-figure business and got to be everywhere and doing all the things, I think that would have taken a lot of the fun and the resilience out of it that I've now built as a business owner in my coaching business. And instead, I just gave myself the time and space to kind of lean back and ease into my business and see what felt good, and what my business looked like 3 years ago is very different to how it looked this year, and it's very different to how it's going to look next year. And again, giving yourself permission to not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but just look at what your next level looks like. That's one of the reasons why I've got my in-person event in January, is that I want the women that are coming to really take that time to take their business back to basics. And that could be at the start of every month, it could be at the start of every year, it could be whenever feels good to you, whenever you feel like there's more. This isn't quite it anymore. There's something else. Like, give yourself a moment and some space to really take it back to beginnings, and redesign it, recreate it. Because it's the same with life. Like, my business and my goals and my growth and my visibility has been hand in hand with my own personal life and what's been going on with that, because ultimately my business serves me and not the other way around. And that's why I am an entrepreneur, because I wanted to have that beautiful blended experience where my business also gets to amplify my soul's mission, where the money that I create gets to impact not only me, my family, like the other things that I'm here to do. So my business runs at a very soul level, and I'm super excited for that. So that being said, there's going to be so much like juicy details in here that you can absolutely take away. I'm all about, as a coach and as a woman, paying it forward and sharing my learnings with other women so that they can essentially create their own path, build up their own resilience toolkit, find out what feels good for them, inspire them in some ways, because it is entirely possible for you. So one thing I would love to caveat as well is that obviously at the beginning of the year, I had other business, like a big, obviously other business interest that also generated, 6 figures. So I've been able to afford a bit of time in, like I say, with allowing my coaching business to evolve as I wanted it to, without the pressure of needing to hit massive financial milestones. It's a different story now, obviously. Like, my business is a business and it very much has to hit, financial milestones in order to be viable, but also to be able to grow and thrive, because what you put in, you get out, and so that was obviously at the beginning of the year. I still had one of those interests. But what I would also love to encourage women to do is to have more than one business interest. Let your main thing be your main thing, but be a smart boss lady when it comes to having income streams. And even within my business, if I look now at the spreadsheet that I'm going to be going through as we talk about it, even the amount of revenue streams within my business, I've got 23 right now, and next year that may be more. So there's 23 different ways that I can earn money with just one business, let alone the other businesses and the business interests and investments that I also have, because I am very much a believer that many eggs, many baskets, because it's not about lack money mindset and not going all in. I am fully all in and present in whatever I put my heart and mind to. So that's the other thing as well. If you're going to want to grow a business or want to pour into an investment, energy flows where focus goes. So you can't do that half-assed and expect a great return. There, in my opinion, there is no such things as quick wins in business and easy money. Even passive income streams require some element of time and energy to create something initially, and then you have to drive traffic to it. So whether you are consciously driving traffic to that one particular thing, it's not going to make you money just because it's sitting there. And I'm sorry to be the person to tell you that, because I know that a lot of other coaches love to sell the dream of entirely passive income, that you can make so much money in your pants and not do any work. And the reality is you do need to do some work. And I can't, I am very much like old school business owner. I've definitely found ways to work smarter and not harder, and to leverage my time and make something that I've created work for me then and also in the future. It's one of the reasons when I work with clients, I talk to them about longevity, and being able to leverage. So longevity of content, longevity of brands, of presence, of all of the things. So I'm queen of leverage and getting one thing, and how do I now recreate this and multi-purpose it and do all the things so I get the most bang for my buck. That's definitely like my vibe, my energy, and I wouldn't be able to do all the things if I didn't have that mindset. So I'd love for you to also have that. But it's important as well that you have other income streams so that you can make better choices, essentially. And that's what it comes down to when it comes to me. When you have one business, one offer, or one income stream, you are going to inevitably, like when times are tough, or if you haven't quite yet figured out cash flow, going to be making decisions from a place of fear as opposed to actually what feels good to you. And when you do that, let me tell you, ladies, it always bites you on the ass, and it always comes back. Your lowest paid client will always be your work, like your biggest fucking headache, because the people that invest in, and it takes just as much money to sell high ticket as it does low, and the people that invest and it's a stretch to them, and in though even, you know, it could be hundreds of pounds, if they're at that place in life, it's going to be such a different mindset around purchasing and spending money at that time. It's going to feel more risky, it's going to feel scarier than a woman who's already making a lot of money. Instead, they will be led by, is it how? Yes. Amazing. Does it feel good? Yes. And I just did a recent post on this about the decisions that I went through, because one of the things that you'll see that I've invested in heavily this year is mentorship, which essentially has equated to $70,000, and it's probably more if I really put my mind into like looking into the details. Haven't done my account yet, so I'm sure it'll be more when I do. I could have not made those investments if I was still, if I only had one business, if I only, you know, I'm a single parent with 5 kids, like, you know, I've got to be smart about these things, and I've got to make sure that, you know, my basic needs are met, so that I'm not making decisions from a place of survival. It is very much what feels good, what is going to take my business to the next level, what is going to pay me now and in the future, what is going to ultimately serve my higher mission. And that's what I want for you guys. So especially at the beginning stages, I always say have a secondary income. And funny enough, when I went to LA, I'm recently earlier in the year, there's a whole big podcast episode on that. If you haven't yet listened to it, make sure you go back and listen to it. I had a conversation with Daniela from Boss Babe, who is obviously a multi-millionaire boss lady woman, and she said that she didn't actually leave her full-time job until Boss Babe was already making 6 figures. And for her, that was like a personal choice, and that she needed to know that her personal needs were met, and that when they were then making decisions, it was from a place of this feels good rather than we have to do it because we need money. So that's kind of like another little caveat that I wanted to put into the mix. But anywho, let's dive in then. So one thing I would love to say is that I am very good at tracking the data. So obviously, as a mindset coach, you have to have control of your finances. You need to know where your money is going. You cannot even like the good, the bad, the ugly. So even that's how you learn. You've got to have something to look at in order to be able to learn, reflect, and have the quantitative data, so that you're not making decisions entirely from a place of emotion all the time, rather than saying like, oh, that didn't feel like a good launch. Is actually having the data to back it up and say, okay, so what point did that launch fall back? And obviously for me, that's part of my personality. But equally with my clients, I have spreadsheets and templates for them in the mastermind. If you're interested in joining the 7-figure sisterhood mastermind, this is the kind of thing that I break down, because you know, I love Excel, I love a spreadsheet, and this really lights me up. It's not for everybody, and I'm all about making business as simple as possible. As long as you have a basic spreadsheet that tells you, you know, forecasts your money, like it aligns with your goals, so you can have focus and stay on track. Identify those trends. So one thing that I love to do is also think about my energetic year and also my year-on-year trends. So as long as I'm growing every year, that feels good to me. But equally, I can see in advance, like, where are the periods where I naturally start to dip? Like, do I need to change that, or do I just need to go with that? And, you know, do I now just book that off as time off? And typically when the kids are on half term and holidays, I'm not going to be present and doing all the things, nor do I want to be. I want to have a rhythm within my business, and I'm happy to be in it, but I don't want to be on all the time. While the kids are off anyway. If I didn't have kids, I'd be working 24/7, because I'm obsessed with my business and I love it. But when the kids are off, I want to be present with them. That's part of my core values. So already I know I can see where the dips are, and that's because it's time off that I've had with the kids where I'm just not giving it any love or attention or focus as such. I'm doing like the bare minimum of what I need to do in order to run my business. Having said that, I've also put measures in place so that next year, when I stop, my business doesn't stop as much, in the sense that I've now got a team. So that's also, I'm going to be sharing with you, like, at what point I decided to really lean into growing a team. I've had a team the whole year, but I've expanded on it at the latter part of this year as I start to think about my goals for 2023. So going back to the spreadsheet then. So January for me, my main sources of income at the time were my membership, which was really, really good. So that was something that I created from a place of necessity when I was pregnant with Aviana. So it was intended to be like an academy model, a self-study, and and just give me an element of passive income while I was on maternity leave. But what happened was I got COVID, I was super sick, the universe loves to give us a curveball, and instead I had to make it a membership because I couldn't quite create all the content that I needed to in advance, which worked out in my favor, because then it's just created this beautiful community of women that I've now been able to nurture on a really long-term basis, which always feels really good to me. I'm all about long-term containers, really getting to know somebody, really getting to know their business, being able to support them through multiple ventures. Like, that's always felt really good. Having said that, my membership will be finishing at the end of this year, because I've identified, like, there's just a bit of a misalignment with some of the people that were in there, and obviously it was a joint venture, and there's just other things. So for me, I feel like every year it's a great opportunity to really look at what it is that you're doing and if that's going to serve you into the new year. For me, I want to go all in on my mastermind and really make that my signature offer. So obviously, if I've then got a low ticket membership, I don't want that to undermine what it is that I'm creating in the mastermind. I want to make that something really, really special. So I've made that decision to close the membership and essentially serve those women in other ways. I've opened a free group. I'm adding more low ticket offers to my pipeline for next year for my product suite. But for anybody who was ready for that next level of growth and wanted that next level of intimacy and high touch, and women that are essentially ready to do the big things, not looking for a side hustle and just a small tick along business, is for those women that are ready for growth. That's where they can now meet me in my mastermind, which feels really fucking exciting. But obviously at the beginning of this year, my membership was still quite a big part of my income. I also had client retainers. So these weren't one-to-one coaching clients. So actually I didn't start working with one-to-one clients again in a coach capacity until July this year. Up until that point, I was very much focused on my done for you work. So I have a done for you agency, and I have a team that supports clients to actually go out and execute and do the things, whether that's launches, whether that's funnels, whether that's Kajabi setups, membership creations, all of the things. Essentially, that was like my primary thing. I also had consultancy work that I did with clients where I essentially came in and consulted them on the growth of their business. Essentially, this is what you need to be doing. This is the plan for the next 6 months. This is how we build your personal brand. This is how we build your online presence. This is how we add in passive income. And it was more, I would say, like a consultancy type model. I would work with their teams, I would work with my teams, and that was a large part of what I was doing at the beginning of the year, because again, like, the baby was still super small. I didn't want to be on and customer facing for a lot of it, having to be on social media every day and lead huge groups of people didn't feel good to me at that time. It was more about essentially having those intimate containers where it was just a handful of select clients that I could really get to know their business and really add value to their team. So that was great. I also had some commission. So one thing that I feel really passionate about is like affiliate commissions, but everything was very simple, I have to say, at the beginning of the year. And you can definitely see, like I say, now I've expanded into like 22, 23 income streams over the year. But at the beginning, the baby was probably only like 6 months, not even, I don't think. And I was still figuring a lot of things out with childcare. So it was all very much about 2 offers and high touch and just focusing on a few small things. That I would say. And in terms of expenses, my main expense at the time was a mastermind that I had joined. So this was something that I had already signed up for whilst I was pregnant, and it wasn't due to go live until like the October, I think September, October. So she was only like weeks old when the mastermind started, and that was a very conscious decision for me, because I knew that, as a single parent, small children, multiple business interests, it's going to be very easy for me to be taken off track and also feel very overwhelmed. And I needed like a second pair of eyes on my business. I needed a community of women. I don't have a lot of friends, like actually don't. And also I think that needs to be talked about more, that actually a lot of my clients don't, but for some reason we feel embarrassed about it. That's because I have spent a lot of time last year tightening up my boundaries and really reevaluating the people that I wanted in my life. And so actually it needs to be celebrated that I don't have a lot of friends, because the ones that I do have are really like ride or die, which is amazing. But yeah, but even more reason, like I needed to start like building up that community of other women in business that understood what I was going through. And again, that really inspired me to push forward with my own mastermind, and creating those containers for other women, because it's just been so special. Now, admittedly, the first mastermind that I invested in, I think, was around £10,000. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. There weren't women really at the same level as me, so the dynamics were a little bit off in that sense, in that I ended up sort of almost co-coaching and supporting the other women in the group, which didn't feel that great by the end of it, but it was still a fantastic experience. It was lots of takeaways. I've made a really great connection with the host, and just lots of great things, and the women were still lovely and everything else. So but I feel like every woman should be part of at least one, if not two, masterminds, to have access to those communities. So that was kind of that for January. February was much the same, apart from I added in a couple of group programs. So these were joint collaborations with my business bestie Sarah. So we did a couple of group programs in February and March, and I think later in the year, but I haven't put that income on there for some reason. So obviously the income will be more. So I think that was me like toe dipping as such, in that it was like, okay, baby's getting a little bit older, I feel like I can start venturing out, getting more visible. In my membership, I'd identified some opportunities that, for new containers. We created a group program and we took them through that for those couple of months. I also added in some strategy calls, so that was really good, and also created some funnels, which were off the back of a hypnosis audio that I had like an upsell, which was a workbook. It's still there, it's still available for anybody that's interested, but that has just like given me a nice steady little income throughout the year once I created that in February. Again, like my income was still relatively low from this business, still significantly higher than the year before, but didn't really get into my groove, I would say, until March, April, May, and then obviously everything's like 10x from there. So that was kind of January, February. In terms of my expenses, they were quite low. It was still just my mastermind, and started to bring in elements of software. So there was a few other bits, obviously my VA and da da da. By March, the membership had grown again. I then had more client retainers, so I'd started to build my capacity. So that was really, really good. So started working with multiple clients through the done for you stuff and the agency work that I did. These one-off, like minimal commitment, like strategy calls, started coming in, which was great. April, again, things had just kind of grown with really those offers. More affiliate commissions had come in. In terms of expenses, they have grown rapidly. Why was that? So I think that was I joined another mastermind actually, because so one finished in March, I started another one in April. That was a significantly higher investment. That was around like 20,000, and that was where I really found like just high energy, an incredible community of women. That was really, really good. So everything just really kind of went up from there. So May, I really started to get a bit smarter with my time. Definitely the baby was bigger by this point. I had more capacity, more childcare. I'd started to get back ready to kind of really step forwards more in my business. My membership was continuing to grow. I had more client retainers. I'd also added in my Millionaire Mindset Bootcamp as a self-study option. So I had sales on that. I started to add in additional passive income through other self-study options. So my business building bootcamp, that's now on there as well. I then ran another program with my business bestie, which was an accountability challenge, had some income from there with that group program. Obviously my funnel continuing to add revenue there, my done for you agency continuing to add revenue there. I added in another funnel, which was around launching, that added revenue. My affiliate payments creeped up. I also got commission payments for something else. And again, like my income actually was less than the year before, but I think that was because The year before, it was prior, I don't know, actually I think I had another group program the year before, and I decided that I didn't want to run that again this year. So I'd had a launch the previous May, so it was actually less, but it was still a really great month. In terms of my expenses, it's mainly my masterminds and mentorship, and a small amount of my team. In June, again, client retainers, membership, self-studies. And payment plans are always really good here because they add in reoccurring revenue into your business, which always feels really good. Additional upsells. I had another workshop that I did that brought in some income there as well. So I started to do like standalone events, which felt really good. Obviously, next year I've got my January in-person day, which is similar sort of model. I had another boost of agency work, more affiliate payments. That all feels really good. So that was like a great year. Basically doubled my income for that month on the previous year, which felt really good. July was where I really then started to lean into one-to-one clients again. So basically, I realized with the group programs that I was doing, I was really enjoying it, loving the energy. It was all fantastic. But I really love to go deep in terms of getting to know somebody's business, really getting hands-on, really being able to know the intricacies and their personal circumstances and their mindset blocks that have held them back up till this point, so that I can fully support them mind, body, soul, as well as strategy. So that's when I started to lean into one-to-one clients. So obviously, my income 10x from there. And I also took the opportunity to increase my prices based on the year before, because obviously I'd gone through such a period of growth. I had and also with my agency as well, like just so much knowledge that I could bring to the table for my clients. So that felt really exciting. I then went to LA, which was a really great experience for me. It definitely resulted in another up level in terms of what I was ready to go out and create in the world, and a lot more clarity on that. That was another fantastic month. Obviously my expenses were through the roof with LA and everything else after that point. August, things had again just started to continue, like more clients, more payment plans, which felt really good. So I've already got income coming in right up until July next year, because I have clients that are on payment plans. That feels good to me because I'm already starting next year with a plus. And commitment, which is really important to me as well, particularly with the mastermind. If you're creating a community, you need continuity, you need commitment, you need to protect the energy of that container and that community. And money, like people that have pay money and have skin in the game, that's when they have a vested interest to stay committed to something that they are essentially signing up to. With payment plans, that really helps. So that was really good. I then started to introduce VIP days, which are essentially, and that's so I used to run these as in-person days, and they were like £1,000, because obviously this was like prior to COVID, which was really, really good. But obviously now that they're all online, the great thing is I can reach more people. But obviously it doesn't need to be 1,000. So it's now half the price at 500 or 497. And that just feels that that's a really great opportunity for me to downsell potentially to somebody who is not yet able to invest in my one-to-one services, and upsell from my low ticket membership, where people might want that, like, I just need you, like, I want to work with you, really dive deep on my mindset, really like just put to bed all of that childhood conditioning, all of that crap that I've never told anybody. I need to build up a resilience toolkit. I need to be able to put this to bed energetically so that I can then move forwards in complete faith and confidence that everything that I'm doing is right, and like then the strategy. So that's where I identified that need, couldn't quite figure out how that would work. So I created the VIP days and brought them back. So that felt really good. So, and obviously I've had consistent VIP days, VIP days booked like every month since, so that feels good. So that was that. More affiliate payments. Obviously my expenses have continued to increase, and after LA, I also signed up with a one-to-one coach who was an additional 20,000. So that was obviously paid in installments. Still continue to pay and have locked them both in now for next year. I've also joined a second mastermind for next year. So I've already got my investments ready and locked in because I know that with every time I invest in that next level, you can literally see my income 10x, because like I say, people that pay attention. I have now got more vested interest in really making sure I've got the best possible boundaries in place, making sure that I am holding firm in my prices, that I'm really intentional about where I'm placing my energy, that I'm only working with the best clients that really light me up, that I know I can support. And obviously that's all come from being supported and having my mindset, you know, completely unstoppable and all of those great things. So if you are not yet invested in a coach or a mastermind, you absolutely need to, whether it's with me or with somebody else, that you will see a massive correlation between your income increasing. So September again, my membership was obviously a great income stream. My one-to-one clients, again, 10x. VIP days, my funnels are still bringing in like a little bit of money there. Affiliate payments, software affiliate payments. Obviously, I'm a Kajabi expert. I get payments from Kajabi for anything that I set up for my clients. My expenses have obviously taken a massive like upturn as well. So October, pretty much the same. VIP days, client retainer, no, sorry, not client retainers, although I did do some consultancy work as well in November. So yeah, October is pretty much the same. One-to-one clients. Then I obviously started to sell my VIP day in January. So straight off the bat, I had £1,000, well, 2,000 in the end, signed up for that. So I had 20 women that like, yes, hell yes. So that was really, really good. So don't be afraid to pre-sale stuff that's coming, because that was a really inspired thing that came to me. And even though it was October, people will still wanted to have things in their diary for January. So don't be afraid to pre-sell. November again, so November obviously just gone. So mainly clients, retainer work that I did, VIP days, membership, my events, what is that? Oh, affiliate payments. I had like a nice uplift in those as I again got more select with who it was that I was aligning with. So that gave me a really great like personal high in terms of money coming into the business. My expenses increased tenfold. So one thing I've done is expand my team. So looking ahead at the year ahead, I've realized that if I always do what I always did, I'm always going to get what I always got. And if what I'm looking for every year is massive growth on growth, then I have to, like I say, take different bold action. And part of that is growing a team. So one thing that I've invested in, as well as like higher level mentorships and masterminds, I've also invested in another member of team. I've also invested in a social media manager that starts next week, but I've already paid for her up front because she was good. And that's what you have to do when you find somebody really great. You have to lock them in and make sure that you've got that tied in. I also then invested in a PR agency that are going to help me to get more visibility, because I know that you know, in order to make bolder moves, and one of my ambitions next year is to write a book, I need a bigger audience for that, because you'll notice I've built my business very much on a small intimate audience that I can really pour into. But obviously when I think of my impact and legacy that I want to leave in the world, I need a bigger audience. And this isn't for me about just growing my following on Instagram. It's about actually having a credible brand and business and being known as a go-to expert. So that's where press and publications and speaking opportunities are really going to be a massive part of my strategy next year, because I want to be credible and I want to change the world, and that needs me to get out of my own way in order to do it. So my monthly investments will probably make your eyes water. They're probably around 10k a month now. So, you know, with every investment, it's symbolic, and it will continue to grow next year. So there's also a media agency that I want to work with. That's another 10,000 on top. And you've got to treat your business like a business. You know, I know that there is this perception that you can be a network marketer and grow your business on your phone with zero outgoings. But I actually like that I'm committed to the business, the journey, the fun of being an entrepreneur. I'm committed to having a P&L and outgoings and being supported, and not trying to do all the things myself to save money, because I think it's a false economy. And ultimately, I'm here to do big things in the world. So I know I need to be supported in that, and I've got to run my business like a business. Otherwise, very quickly, I'm going to become the block to my own success. And there's only so many things that you can do in yourself in a day. So that's something that I feel really passionate about. My outgoings are going to be eye-watering next year, but so will my income. So that's my hope, so, or my intention. So for December so far, I've already got clients that have locked me in as their coach for the next 6 months, and paid in full, which is amazing, and always like a really great testament to me, I think, as a coach, and also would be for you, to have those clients that want to continue the journey. And I think it's because I am always continually evolving, expanding, learning. Like I say, every year my business has leveled up dramatically. So there is longevity in working with me as a coach, because I'm not about to take my foot off the gas anytime soon. Like, I'm here to do big things. And every new investment that I make, so that's over $70,000 that I've invested in this year alone, let alone what I invested in the previous years. So that if when you work with me, you're getting the benefit of those high level investment mentors as well, and communities, because equally this little black book that I'm creating, these are the experts and peers and success sisters that I'm then bringing into my communities, into my mastermind. I've already got the most incredible women lined up to come and add value to the women in my mastermind. So not only are you getting the benefit of me and all of my resources and the community that I've created, but also the experts that I'm bringing, and the events and the moments and the immersive experiences that I'm creating too. So I'm super excited about that. So hopefully that's kind of that really, for going through like the P&L of my year. Hopefully from that you can see that with, like I say, every investment is symbolic, and with every level of growth you need to take different action. And I think it's also about like the ebbs and flows of business. Like at the beginning of the year, I didn't even have any one-to-one clients in a coaching capacity until like July. And then when I set my mind to it that that's what I was going to be doing, and really circling back away from some of the group stuff that I was doing and into the more like energy, intimate stuff, my income continued to grow from there. So and also like in LA in July, when I made that investment in myself, when I created that time and space and really stepped into that CEO embodiment role, that's again where the universe met me in return and 10x my business. I'd say probably 60% of my money has been made in the last like 4 months of the year, because at the beginning of the year, so it's also about the long game as well, in the sense that that's okay, so where I could have been sitting there in the first 6 months of the year feeling like I'm not on track to hit my income goals, am I successful, no, I knew it was all about playing the long game in the year. I already knew the investments that I had lined up, same as I have for next year. And the baby was small, and it was like I built my business around me. I know that there is no lack of time, and I can make money whenever I want to. So that's another reason why money mindset always comes into it. You have to start there, having that resilience and confidence and trust in yourself that you are going to be fine regardless, that it's all about the long game. It's about paying your future self before you pay your current self, so that you can build true generational wealth where it's on a beautiful, stable foundation. You don't have those feast and famine cycles. You're not making decisions or taking on clients or throwing out programs from a place of fear. It's all very much in the lean back energy of what feels good to me. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Let me know what your key takeaways are. Any questions, I will do a follow-up episode if I need to. Otherwise, I have 3 invitations for you right now. Obviously, you can come and join me at my in-person event in January. I would love to see you there. It's only 147 for a whole day with me and my community, and this is going to be deep. Like, there's so much stuff going on, I cannot wait. You can also book in a VIP session with me now. It's only $497, which is literally no brainer. That may go up next year, probably will, because I'll be creating I've got so much growth happening next year. So that's definitely something that I would encourage you to book in now. I've still got a couple of places before Christmas. And then also 7-figure sisterhood mastermind, ladies. Like, what are you waiting for? This is such an incredible space. And when I look at my offers and the income streams for next year, I'm all about consolidating and really going all in on this mastermind. This is going to grow at such a beautiful pace and in such a beautiful way that it is truly going to be exceptional. Like, that was my commitment. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. I want to do it at the right point in my business journey. I want to be able to make it all things and really learn from, you know, the masterminds that I've invested in and what I want to create, and just be really intentional with that. So I'd love for you to come and invite you to come and join me in one of those 3 containers right now. But I hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and I hope that you are also doing the same work for yourself, to really reflect and be intentional about the money and the legacy that you want to create as you move into 2023. So thank you so much, ladies. Have a fantastic Christmas and New Year. Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.